Hey guys, welcome back. Today we've got a new project that we're starting, and it's not a kit, as I kind of mentioned in the last video. So we don't have a full unpacking to go through all the bits. We'll take a look at the pattern and all the material that came with it for how to approach this specific pattern, and a quick look at some of the bits that I pulled together. And yeah, we can get started. I'm actually really excited to get started stitching. Feels like it's been a little break, and I'm not really good with breaks, so it's testing my patience a little bit, but we're gonna get stuck right into it, and then yeah, hopefully it'll be fun. I'm really excited. I hope you guys like this one. It is called the Gingerbread Mansion, and I don't know, I want to make sure you can see it. This is just the black and white picture. And funny story about this one. So I was on a trip about 2.5 years ago, summer, a couple years ago, and I found this. I stopped at this little cross-stitch shop, and I found this in their clearance little bin they had, and I had never seen or heard of any of these designs. They're by Nancy Spruance designs. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. So anyways, I just thought, oh, I love gingerbread, and I had just completed another Victorian kit. It was like a Victorian row house kit, which I might post the picture of that. It was really a fun kit. So I might post a picture of that on Instagram for you guys here one of these days. But I just finished that and had so much fun with it that I thought, gingerbread and a sort of Victorian mansion, what's not to love about this? So I grabbed it. It says it was $6. I think I might have paid like $2. So anyways, as I pulled it all out, I realized it actually came with 2 patterns in there. I don't think that was intentional, and I felt really bad. Of course, I only just opened it and really took a look this week, and the lady has since sold the shop, so I can't even go back. But anyways, so yeah, you have the Gingerbread Mansion pattern and Linden Hall pattern. So we'll do this one another time, but hopefully it's fun because I've got another one of hers to do. But yeah, that was kind of a pleasant surprise, I guess. But anyways, back to the pattern at hand here. So the Gingerbread Mansion, inside the pattern, obviously you get the front page with this little black and white printout of the pattern. Obviously that's not what you follow. That would be very tiny. So, and what's really cool, on the back you get this little black and white picture of the actual mansion that this is based on, as well as a little history about it, which I really love that. I think it's so cool that these are based on real homes, and yeah, to have that little bit of context about it, I don't know, it adds a little something to it, I guess. So just for your own information, the Gingerbread Mansion is in Ferndale, California. It's actually called the Ring House, and it is a Queen Anne Eastlake style house built in 1899 for Dr. Hogan Ring and his family. So, and then it goes on to tell about, how it was designed and built and what kind of happened with it after Dr. Ring passed away. And yeah, just a very cool little short biography on the house that we'll be working on. And just in case you have any interest, apparently it is now a popular California North Coast bed and breakfast. So if you want to visit the actual Gingerbread Mansion in Ferndale, then I guess you can go and stay there and check that out. So you get that, and then you get this little instruction sheet, which tells the general instructions, gives you the list of colors with the symbol. And then on this side, which I thought was actually really cool, I don't always see this in patterns, but I think it's a great idea. They actually show you in detailed description how to approach the symbols that occupy half a square or a partial square on the pattern. So they call it quarter and three quarter stitches. And you know, sometimes some patterns refer to them as a half stitch, and you're never really sure what they want you to do. Sometimes I feel like I'm guessing, or, you know, I've seen different explanations of how different patterns want you to complete that. So it's just nice that they give you an absolute diagram description of what you do when you see that specific square with half of a symbol, you know, half the square filled with a symbol. So really like that. I thought that was a great idea, especially for newer stitchers. And so yeah, you get that, and then they put in this picture, this color picture of the kit. Let's see if we can get that. And shows you all the colors and just, yeah, a bit of the detail. So, and then with the pattern, it's 2 pages. So this one happens to be the top half on this page, and then the bottom half on this page. Obviously this looks much fuller. And then again, down here, we've got all of our colors with our symbols. So it's nice to have it in 2 places. So when I'm working on this portion of the pattern, I've got it right there. And then when we're working on this one, we can use the other sheet that had them listed. So we're not constantly having to flip back and forth. And what's interesting, this one, when you look at it very closely, I don't know, to me, it looks like it is hand done. This is not just a computerized pattern. These X's are not necessarily identical, and the circles are certainly not identical. And so I'm wondering if it's someone didn't hand design this and then just photocopy it, which is just amazing in itself. Kind of its own piece of art, in my opinion. So yeah, that's the pattern. Now this kit, it says that their sample that they did, this was stitched on a 14 count antique white Aida. And the total design area is 150 stitches wide by 138 stitches high, nearly a square. It's what, 12 inches or 12 stitches, you know, high or wider than it is higher. So that's sort of interesting. And then it gives you the finished size depending on the size Aida that you choose, which is nice. And you know, they list the probably 3 most common sizes of Aida. So that's nice. You can kind of make your decisions and have an idea based on what your preference is. So that's cool. Now, I actually chose to do linen rather than Aida for this, partly because I've mentioned before, I prefer linen. I prefer the look of linen on a finished product, but also it just happened that I had a piece of linen that looked like a nice color for this. So it kind of just worked out that way. So this is the linen I chose. I don't even know where I got this. It's oyster 32 count, which would be the equivalent of the 16 count Aida, because you stitch 2/2 on linen. So if that's something you haven't come across before, just know when you're choosing your linen and your sizes are Aida or vice versa, the stitch count on your linen is double whatever the stitch count for the Aida is. So for example, a 14 count Aida would be the equivalent of a 28 count linen. So this is, I don't think it's probably dissimilar to the antique color that they used. Maybe just a little bit more ivory than, you know, antique can have a bit of a yellowish tone. So hopefully that'll look nice, and it's definitely big enough. This is a 20 by 27 inch piece, and our finished product on that size will be 9 1/3 inches by 8 2/3 inches. So plenty of fabric there. And then in here, I've put together all of the threads that we'll need. And then this is just my excess. There was a couple that it said you would need a couple skeins of DMC lint or thread. So I've just sort of stuck those in there for when we need them. And hopefully I've managed to get myself organized enough that I can just get stuck into it. Hopefully I'll share some updates as we go along here. This one will probably take me a little longer. I'm guessing I won't have a finished video for you on this next week, or maybe not even the week after. So in the meantime, we might look at some old patterns that I've done, some old projects, kind of do some throwbacks there, or we might throw in some different content and have a bit of a chat about something else, and just have fun. We're just gonna have fun. That's the whole goal here. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and look forward to seeing you next time. Any questions or comments, throw them down below and I will be sure to respond.